Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel that you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today's video is going to be the next installment in our sleeping in a tent video series. Today we're going to talk about power, and in particular we're going to talk about electrical power. For me to sleep out in this tent and stay out in this tent all night, I have to have a way to entertain myself because I don't never sleep all the way through the night. I'm at that age and I've got a bad back where most people get eventually, where you don't sleep through the night. Sometimes you get up and you walk around and then you don't get back to sleep for a couple of hours. For me to stay out here, I gotta have something to do, otherwise I'm just gonna unzip the door and head on back to the house and sit in front of the internet. So I have to have light in order to read by, which means I have to have batteries. So the first choice you got to make when you decide that you're going to sleep in a tent and you're going to have lighting is what kind of batteries you're going to use. Because you can get regular everyday batteries that you just buy them and you use them up and throw them away, or you can get rechargeable batteries. For me, the decision was actually quite simple, because before I even moved out here, one of my subscribers sent me this really cool solar charger. So I knew early on I was going to use rechargeable batteries. Now this solar charger I've got, and here's the box for it, is a Goal Zero. I am not an advocate of Goal Zero because even though I love it, I think it's the best charger on earth. The reason I believe that is because I've never tried any other charger. So it may be that every other charger out there is better than this, but if they are, I don't know how they could be. This one charges my batteries and it seems to be indestructible. And in fact, this is a very expensive charger, but I don't think it's expensive because it's better at charging. I think it's more expensive just because it's designed for a particular purpose that I don't have. I stay in this tent. I don't go mountain climbing or anything. This is designed to take a lot of abuse, and it's got hooks and hangers on it, so that you have a lot of options of how you can attach this to your physical body. If you're walking away from the sun, you would put this on your backpack. If you're walking towards the sun, you may put it on the straps or whatever other equipment somebody hiking or mountain climbing or whatever would have. But it folds up into a really neat package, and I guess it's magnets that hold it shut like a little notebook, and you slide that into your backpack or whatever. And it's got a zippered compartment in the back for holding all the gadgets and gizmos that you need to charge all different kinds of items. But if you don't have this, then you have to make a decision. And if you think that it's cheaper to have rechargeable batteries, it just depends on how long you're going to be using batteries, I guess. But in the short run, probably cheap batteries from Walmart would be better than getting rechargeable batteries. The batteries cost more. Then you have to purchase the equipment to recharge the batteries, and on top of that, the equipment to charge the batteries, in the most cases, plugs into your wall and uses up electricity. And I don't know how much it uses, but those things get warm. Now, for a simple system like this, you're not going to be able to charge like your laptop battery or anything like that. Basically just AAs and AAAs. And the difference between an AA and a AAA, we put them right together, most people understand what that is. But a AAA got more letters, but it's smaller. The one with less letters, AA, is bigger. The bigger ones will hold a charge longer than the smaller ones when used to power up similar equipment. I mean, in most cases, if you're using a teeny tiny battery, it's because you're using a teeny tiny light or a teeny tiny radio. And if you got a bigger battery, it's a little bit bigger radio or a bigger light. But I want something like for radio, I want something I can hear and understand, and so it's got to be able to do something that I can hear and understand. So I didn't really want the little AAA radio that you hold up to your ear, and I didn't really want anything that I had to wear headphones for anyway, like a lot of these little Walkman style things. Sound wonderful, but when you're wearing them, you can't hear your surroundings, and I've never been comfortable with that. If I want to listen to the radio, I want to still be able to hear what's around me too. When I was making a decision as to whether to use disposable batteries or rechargeable batteries, I was making a decision based on the fact that I sleep in a tent. But if you live in a tent 365 days a year, or if you're in an emergency situation where you have to bug out, then disposable batteries are not going to work for you, because you simply cannot use disposable batteries to power up a lot of the items that have become commonplace essentials in our modern world, such as cell phones and palm readers. This is called a Nook. Any kind of personal communication devices normally use rechargeable batteries only, and so you're going to have a way of recharging those batteries. And if you've got to get the system anyway, then you might as well be using rechargeable batteries in your lanterns and your radios as well. Alright, I'm going to show you something that's all new to me, but the 30 and under crowd simply takes for granted. But that's just the way it is. I'm old. Old people don't know the kind of stuff that young people know, which is a good reason for old people to watch my channel. Now, if you see what I'm holding here, this is like the latest technology for people my age. It's a cell phone charger. We didn't have these when I was a kid. One end plugs right into the wall, and the other end plugs into your cell phone or other personal communication device. But that's not the way they are today. This is a modern cell phone charger. Does it look the same? Well, it isn't. It's actually a USB charger with a USB cable on it. Anything that can charge from a USB port on a computer can be charged from this thing. And they also make cigarette lighter adapters that do the same thing. So if you've got any kind of electronic device that charges through a USB port, you can charge it with one of these. But you can also charge it with your solar charger. We're going to show you how that works right now. We're going to unzip our solar panel. If we go the right direction. And we're going to be looking for this USB plug right here. We're going to plug our USB in to that USB cable. And now we're going to do the magic part. First thing, I'm going to open this solar panel up and lay it down on the ground. I hope you can see this. I'm about to do some magic. You see that? I am charging my solar charger. I'm charging my cell phone from inside of my tent underneath a big shade tree. Now, to make this a little bit more efficient, can you see what I'm doing there? We'll turn this. Just setting this, this is the flap that you zip shut whenever it's raining. It makes a nice little shelf, and this particular window gets direct sunlight from about, say, 8:30 to 11 o'clock. It actually gets pretty good sunlight all day, but early in the morning the sun is like right through them trees there. I'm going to show you something else. If you leave, now you never want to leave your solar charger out here when it's going to rain, but there are times when the weatherman says it's not going to rain, so you leave it there and you come back and it's all wet. And even though these things can take a little rain, it's not a good idea to put them in the rain. But I'm going to show you something. If you go off and you know that you don't feel like it's going to rain, you still don't want to leave your your cell phone out there. So what we're going to do is zip up this flap. You're going to like this. And just leave our cell phone hanging there. Now the good thing about that is, even if you're in the tent and you just have that flap zip for whatever reason, if the phone rings, you ain't got to unzip the flap to get to your cell phone. And I'm going to show you something else while we got you. And that is, if it's completely cloudy, it's so at dark, even nighttime. At nighttime, if you need to charge your cell phone, if you've got this battery bank filled up with freshly charged batteries, there's actually a USB port on the end of this thing. Now, if you flip this switch all the way over, that makes a flashlight, but halfway over is your USB port, and that allows you to plug in your USB charger in your battery bank and charge your cell phone off of your batteries, even in the dark. Other options for charging things that are on this little distribution point are 12 volt, which hooks into a cigarette lighter adapter and allows you to charge anything that you have, which normally would charge off of your cigarette lighter in your car. And also separate from that is this cord, which is the cord that plugs into your battery bank. Now, we've still got the little light on because we've got the switch to the charge position. That's where we put it when we're using this to charge other items. But when we want to charge this battery bank, we make sure that's off. You notice the green light's not on. And we plug that in. And when we do that, then we are automatically charging. Let's see, where's the light? It's kind of shady right now, but that's okay. You can probably see the little green light on. That means we're actually charging this. When you're not using your charger, at least with this particular brand, you can put every one of your USB cables, as well as a cigarette lighter adapter and your little battery bank inside of the zippered pouch. Problem is, I use this thing every day, all day, and so I don't want all of that in there. It's very simple to simply take all of that stuff and put it in a Ziploc bag. And if you're in a tent, maybe that's for the best anyway, because it stays pretty humid in here. Once you make the decision that you're going to be using rechargeable batteries, you're quickly going to notice that everything sold or marketed in regard to rechargeable batteries or battery recharging is sold or marketed in multiples of 4. When you purchase batteries, they come in packs of 4 or 8 or 12 or some multiple of 4. When you purchase your charger, the charger is going to charge multiples of 4. Now, they say you can charge 2 batteries in here at one time and just leave the other 2 spaces empty. I don't know why that would be beneficial. But with this one, if you charge AAs, you simply stick them in there. But if you're charging AAAs, then you got a little adapter that goes in where these 4 batteries are right now. Now, the way this household charger works, and this is Energizer's version, if you put the AAs in, you simply put them right until they lock in the front. And if you got AAAs, they actually lock in right behind the position that the AAs are in. Now, you wouldn't want to ever charge AAs and AAAs together at the same time. I'm only putting them in there to show you the difference in the positions. You always want to have 2 or 4 of the identical batteries. But something I found out just by accident, before I got my solar charger, I purchased a little flashlight that uses AAA batteries, but it only uses 3. Now, I was worried about this at first because I knew I was going to end up having 3 completely discharged batteries that I needed to charge up, and I didn't know what the effect was going to be of putting a fully charged battery in with them. Well, I did that, and the effect was that when I pulled them out and I tested them, every single one of them was at 1.37 volts, identical. So having batteries in there that are charged at different, have different levels of charge in them when you install them into the charger is not an issue whatsoever. While we're talking about charging batteries, something that I highly recommend you get just to keep your confusion level down to a minimum is a multimeter. This thing reads voltage, and that's how you can tell whether or not your batteries are charged. If they're not charged, they'll be at about, say, like 1.15 or 1.20 volts. And if they're fully charged, they'll get up to between 1.35 and 1.60 maybe volts. I'm not really sure, but I have tested batteries that were like way above 1.5. And this cost about $15, but I'm about to tell you a way to get one of these without spending $15. If you have a Harbor Freight location anywhere near you where you can just walk into a store and buy Harbor Freight items, then what you need to do is get your Harbor Freight catalog and order one item. It doesn't have to be anything expensive, because no matter what you order, you're getting on their list. They will be sending you sales flyers every week for the rest of your life. And all of those sales flyers have coupons in them. A regularly recurring coupon is free multimeters. This multimeter works very, very well. You could go into professional business using one of these things, and it's free. And it's not free with the purchase of an additional item. A lot of times The coupon will say on it, no additional purchase necessary, free multimeter. I stood in line with this in my hand and nothing else, went through the register and left the store with a multimeter. I didn't purchase anything. And yeah, I felt a little uncomfortable doing that, but the store had like 100 people in it. I'm sure nobody really paid any attention to the fact I was doing this, and I know I wasn't the only one there that day that was doing that. Once I came to the realization that all rechargeable batteries were sold in multiples of 4 and that rechargers recharged in multiples of 4, I made a decision early on that everything I purchased that used batteries that I was going to use in the tent would have to use 4 AAs or 4 AAA batteries. Wouldn't purchase anything that didn't. This is one of the first things I purchased. It's a little flashlight lantern, and it's called a UCO something. UCO makes several different kinds. I paid about 25 bucks for this. And to turn it on, you lift the shade up because the button is behind the shade, and there you go. When you close the shade back down, you can't access the button, but that converts your lantern into a flashlight, and it's a very, very efficient flashlight. I can use it for many hours without the light going out. In the base of this light is a little universal tripod mount. And the problem is this is not universal because the vast majority of tripods have a flat base plate with a screw on the end, and the screw is not long enough to make it to this little screw hole, because as you can see, this has these little blue legs and there's actually like an indentation in there, and it's too far for the screw to reach. But this really, really inexpensive camera tripod screws right in. So you don't have a base plate, it just goes right on in there. And that allows you to put this on uneven ground or on top of items that are uneven, and just to elevate it a little bit. Initially, I found that the perfect spot for my lantern was right here. That's directly over my pillow. And with it on up there, I could read a book very easily. I could read, lay it on my belly, lay it on my side, didn't make any difference. Problem is, this screen right here, which is designed to keep insects out, can only keep out certain sizes of insects. And even though mosquitoes and gnats never seem to get through, there are little teeny tiny bugs that can get through. And when that lamp was on, I was getting covered with these bugs. They didn't bite or anything, but they were very irritating. And I noticed that when I put the lamp down on the ground, I didn't have that problem anymore. But all night long I'd be hearing. Doesn't bother me. As long as they don't get on me, they can ram into the side of my tent all they want. Now the way this works, I'm going to show you how the 4 batteries go in, just because I guess this is a regular feature of a lot of lights they make nowadays, but if you've never seen it, then you don't know what I'm talking about, but I can show it to you and you will know. See, it holds 4 batteries in this little cartridge, and then you just pop the cartridge in after you load it up, screw it on, and you're good to go again. Now, another item that you can get at Harbor Freight for free nearly every week is one of these flashlights, and I love them. They have a button that allows it to be as a flashlight, and then you press it twice and it does this thing. It's very easy to read by. The thing I don't like about these lights is that it doesn't just unscrew so you can put batteries in. You got to actually have a screwdriver and remove these teeny tiny little screws that you're going to lose, in which the heads are going to eventually get stripped out, to get to the inside of this, change the batteries. And I think it has 3 batteries in it, so that also disqualifies it. The good thing about it, if you're at Harbor Freight and you got one of them coupons, you might as well get one. These still are very good lights. They got a hook that folds away, and that allows you to do like this here. Hang it from the roof of your tent. I hope you can see that hanging up there. All tents seem to have that hook on them now, by the way. And in fact, another thing that I use quite often is these zippers. And one day I'll do another video about it. But you can get little bitty hooks and hang lights. I've got a, let's see, what's over there? Is that? Yeah, there's my dustpan and broom over there. I got a mirror and a brush over here. So we use those hooks for lights as well. These also come with a little magnet right here. It allows you to stick them on the refrigerator, but that magnet pops out. I got about 4 of these that are missing the magnets, but on my refrigerator are 4 magnets. But like I said, don't buy one of those. Get you a good light. Like just one, you don't need 10 lights, you just need 1 light and a battery charger, and you can do anything you need to do. Another light that I got to tell you about, I actually made a video where I went on and on about what a wonderful light this is. This is a Harbor Freight light, and this thing actually, one day it started raining, everything in my tent got wet, and it stayed raining for 3 days, so I couldn't come in here and dry this out, so I didn't come out into the woods at all. When I did come out after 3 days, this thing was hanging and still fully lit, because as it was putting out light, it was still charging. Problem is, the Achilles heel of this light is the switch that turns it on. In order to conserve power, which I have no idea why you would care about conserving power when you're using solar energy, they give you a rheostat that allows you to put on a very dim light so you don't use up your batteries, and a very bright light. But rheostats are just they're an item that they can either be made right or they can be made junky, and this one is made junky. Most people have never discovered that this don't work. If you go on 2 or 3 camping trips, it's a wonderful light, but if you want to use this for the rest of your life, you're going to get about 31 days, because I think the warranty is for 30 days. Don't get it. It's a very bad light. Hopefully in the very near future I'll be able to disassemble this, pull that rheostat out, put a little toggle switch in there and make a video about it, and we'll get this thing up and running again, because it really is a very good light. This solar panel on top does a wonderful job of keeping this lit day and night, all day, all night, year round. Just got a bad switch. Now that we've talked about my flashlight, my lantern, I'm going to go ahead and do a little demonstration of the lantern. Now in this demonstration, it's going to look like I'm sitting in absolute darkness, because the way the human eye works is not the same way that my camera works. Just trust me, as I was making the video, I had a whole lot more light than what you're going to see in this video. Alright, I know it doesn't look like a whole lot of light. I've already used a set of batteries for about 3 or 4 hours of reading, so I'm going to go ahead and change them out right now. And these are fully charged. Fully charged rechargeable batteries are about 1.37 volts. Although I think they sell a rechargeable battery that charges up a really high capacity. I think they're expensive though. Alright, here we go. Let me turn this other light off. See, that's a lot brighter. But I can read. I was reading with the old batteries in anyway. Ah, there we go. Good fine small print Bible. And for me, I have to take my glasses off to read. I have to read with the Bible right next to my face. But I don't know if you can see on the screen, because honestly, the way the camera perceives light is not the same as what your eye will perceive light. Go to Matthew 6:9. Everybody's familiar with that one, I think. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Matthew chapter 6 and verses 9 through 13. According to the English Standard Version, ESV, of the Bible. This is where I am, and this is where my light is. Now, getting back to the prerequisite of 4 battery items only in my tent is the issue of entertainment, radio. I'm not a big radio listener, and in fact, I probably wouldn't even have a radio, but I did survive Katrina and ended up living here in this house for about 30 days with no electricity. And as much as you think you don't care about the world around you, when you're going through something like that, you really want to find out everything you can about what's happening. And so we would just sit for hours on end listening to the same stuff. And the radio stations seemed to have a disc jockey most of the time, and they were able to relay information to people. But the TV station went out for a few weeks, and they just played a loop. It was like 45-minute loop that played over and over and over again for about 2 weeks. Same old stuff over and over again. So radio actually is a better thing to have than a TV in a natural disaster or any other kind of disaster that we may have to go through. And this radio, I did a whole lot of research, so I can say just from listening to other people's radios on YouTube, this is the one you need to get. It's about a $20 radio, and it is called a Sony ICF-38. I had my box out here. Where did I put that thing? Here's the original box it came in. Sony ICF-38. And it's an analog radio, which means it has no digital junk that's going to break. It's basically just a switch that turns it on, and you got knobs to tune it and knobs for the volume, and you've got an AM FM switch. AM never works. It's not worth having. But also, I have to tell you that there isn't anything else that works. The only thing you need is FM radio, because shortwave radio that you can actually listen to and understand what people are saying costs like $1,000, and it's as big as a truck. And so you don't want that. You want something small. Anything that's this size that has shortwave on it does not work. And if you want to get it to work, you got to have a 400-foot tower anyway, so it still does not work for this situation. We'll go ahead and demonstrate that now as well. AM is never any good at night, I think, is the rule. You don't really want AM anyway. Oh well. Every YouTube video I saw where people were doing tests of radios, they tested them at night with AM. So I think it just doesn't come in very good. This is now we're going to try some FM stations.
Say nothing, be nothing. It was actually Aristotle before Albert. But thank you very much for putting your life out on the line to protect others. Thank you for calling in and being part of the show. Let's go to wildcard line 3.
Must be talking to some soldier. Like I said, it's analog, just simple knobs and buttons, but that's what you need. You got to get back to the basics when you're getting back to the basics. Oh, And take it from me, kids, do not drink and drive and text while putting on your makeup. Because you know as well as I do, there ain't no way in the world you're going to get your makeup right if you're trying to do all that other stuff at the same time. And as always, if you don't want to survive, don't listen to me.